guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is Ben Slinger.
Yes, I am here. It is 2025. Happy New Year. I mean, not when we're recording this, but for you listening.
I was going to say, we had a great New Year, even though it's like in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, we're recording, we're banking a few of these at the moment. So we've just recorded our game of the year, and now we're onto the.
That's it. We're onto the new
first
year.
Of 2025.
So if the world has ended, sorry,
you won't ever hear
sucks.
this. So
yeah,
that sucks.
I mean, it depends on how thoroughly it ends, I suppose. Maybe podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like in a real dystopic world, there's still going to be white dudes doing podcasts. So,
he's on. Rock on.
Yeah. What are we doing this week, this year?
Ramped Up Click Pitches the Game is the name of the game, and the way that actually works is that we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3 to 1 click, we're going to get 2 words. We're going to get an adjective and a noun, and then we're going to throw them at each other. We're going to come up with a game design. It doesn't matter if we use the prompts or not. They're just a jumping off point.
That's right.
Stop getting all up in our DMs.
Yeah,
and saying,
get out of the comments.
Saying to us, oh, I noticed that you didn't use this word. It's like, I don't care. They're a jumping off point.
Was the game good? Yes, it was amazing, but you didn't use that word. It's like, yeah, just so good. They did their job.
Yes, we did our job. Now that we've talked about it, 3 to 1 click.
Yeah. Questionable lawyer.
Drowned workstation.
Oh. Okay.
So is the lawyer the one who's drowned? Or is he defending someone who drowned someone else? Or did the lawyer drown someone and now it's questionable that he's, defending the person who he framed?
So where I originally went with just my words was faking your way through being a lawyer.
Okay.
But the reason for that could be that you drowned a lawyer and then took their place.
And stole their identity.
Stole their identity, stole their job. And so, and it's the lawyer who is going to be prosecuting you. No, that doesn't make sense. Nobody's found out about your crime. No. It was the perfect crime. Or so you think at this point.
Or so you think. And the thing is, this is your only experience of being a lawyer in the game is that of Phoenix Wright.
Like the actual games, like playing the games.
The actual games. Okay. So they're in universe.
Yeah.
You actually,
you're a big
the very
fan.
first thing that you do, you finish off, and you finish off Justice for All.
The end of
we
a Phoenix
include
Wright
the
game
end of Justice
in
for
our
All.
game. Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I could do that. So easy. Being a lawyer, all you got to do is just point out the contradictions.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
this
guy comes up and says, hey, I'm new in
case.
town. No one knows me, but I've got a job lined up at the biggest law firm.
My name's Mike Smith. And you go, my name's Mike Smith.
That's right. He's like, opportunity knocks because your character is clearly a sociopath and has no remorse or respect for human life.
I want to be a lawyer, and drowns him in a bathtub.
Yeah. It's like, I won't even have to do barely anything to like change my ID. We look very similar. Yeah.
And just the fact that same name and everything.
Yeah.
So they can just give them literally their license and go, see, I'm Mike Smith.
Yeah. There's no photos on those for some reason.
No.
You did have to shave your head.
Yes.
Because Mike Smith, the lawyer, was completely bald. But once you do, spit an image.
Spit an image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then
you
I
look
think
just like that PS1 graphic guy. Yeah. Really blocky.
Yeah. Well, that's the style that we go for.
As was the style at the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's coming back. It's retro now.
Yeah.
I like that, actually. That'd be now I'm picturing a jury full of blocky PS1 characters and Yeah.
Where the hands are just kind of morphing continuously.
Because of like floating point issues with the animation, with the bones, or I don't know. They weren't even bone animated, I don't think. Whatever it was. So, okay, I like the idea of you trying to fake your way through this by just trying to find these contradictions and everyone's just like, no, like, that's not how this works. That's not a thing.
Yeah, his memory isn't going to be great, but that's why he's got all this other evidence.
yeah, which you can never find any contradictions in.
It's like he said a wrong word. It's like,
yeah,
but it corroborates this evidence over here. Like, sure, he said that there was only 2 people, but that quite clearly there were 3 people there. So what? Doesn't really matter.
The eyewitness testimony is the least of the least
showing Darren having, chopped up 13 people in cold blood.
Yes,
what do you have to say for yourself?
They said they only saw 12, so we got to throw the whole thing out. Objection.
How can we be sure?
Can you stop pointing at me and freezing?
And why do you keep on looking to the side to that pillow that you've got?
Is that a character
with the big breasts, just like in Phoenix Wright?
Oh, it's like a body pillow.
Yeah,
right?
Because it's literally just Mia Fey from like it's a body pillow,
right?
Pillow
of
Mia
the
Fey.
Character, yeah. Gotcha. So does your character
he keeps on calling the other
learn?
prosecutor Edgeworth? There you go.
Yeah. Does your character ever actually learn and get better, or is this all about you just being this terrible shit lawyer and somehow getting away with it the whhole time?
Somehow getting away with
and
it.
Then all the sort of
liar.
Yeah.
You know how in liar he can't. His main thing is that he lies, and then he works out that he is actually being
a terrible person. Yeah.
Not only a terrible person, but
does
actually work out that the contract wasn't legal because of such and such was actually too young and therefore couldn't have actually signed the contract. And
gotcha.
Therefore,
yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. So ends up
solving
it, even though they couldn't lie.
Yeah.
We do the same thing in this, in the fact that there is actually a massive contradiction.
Yeah.
And all the evidence is actually being faked.
Mm.
And you find that out through contradicting like someone else, and it turns out they're the real mastermind behind this whole thing. They faked up all the evidence because they did the actual murder.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
and then
why I'm thinking jury duty with Pauly Shore, where
not the recent Prime series.
No.
Okay.
The 90s film with Pauly Shore, where it looks like all he was trying to do was get a payday. And it turns out that, the guy who was on trial for murder didn't actually do it.
Right. Do you end up having to attempt to defend the person who ended up being framed for you drowning the act? Like, they don't know the name or anything because you did a pretty good job there, but they find Mike Smith's body and someone gets framed for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking, like, you've literally murdered someone at the start of this game. Do you ever come to terms with that? Do you ever get anything?
It's hinted at the very end when, you've won the case. You're there with all the other lawyers, and someone comes bursting in with a newspaper with, Mike Smith's body found, chopped to bits at the bottom of, Bay Harbor. And they say the Bay Harbor butcher has struck again.
And is that so? And the question is, were you the Bay Harbor butcher the whole time?
Yes.
And this is just your latest victim.
Then it goes into a whole Dexter thing because that was the name of the murderer from Dexter.
So you bring in these references, and I just have to take them at face value if I don't get them. All right,
okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah.
Lethal Advent.
Oh, okay. Sealed reasoning.
Ooh, okay.
So the reason why this advent calendar is sealed.
is because
there's lethal.
One of the doors
has a fucking venomous spider in there that's...
Well, either venomous spider or does it have anthrax?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, maybe. Either way is going to be lethal.
Yeah, it's a venomous spider that's been sitting in anthrax. And it's
like a cookie clicker.
Okay. You're just opening advent calendars all day long?
Here's the twist.
All right.
It's one of those things. If you can make it all the way through without clicking on the lethal one,
yeah,
you win a bunch of money.
Right.
However, if you click the lethal one, you lose one of your prize documents, or even, maybe a Windows system file that you really, really need, and it can blue screen your whole bloody computer.
Oh, when you say prize documents, you mean literally a file from your on-computer documents directory.
Yes. 100%.
I mean, I do like that idea.
It's actually ransomware. You have to play.
You have to play, or we will delete your files.
There's a time limit. But you've got until Christmas. Money. You can win real money.
Which we steal from everyone else by ransoming off their documents.
No. Okay.
No. I do like the idea. I do like the idea of a cookie clicker-esque thing where, you've got like a 1 in 25 chance each time of failing that calendar, essentially. And so to get further ahead, you have to essentially get more than the average.
Skip the right day.
Well, yeah, like each one's got a different amount of money in it. And
sometimes it's good to skip leg day. Like leg day could be the one.
Right. Well, I don't know if advent calendars have your gym schedule. I guess some could. That's not the way I picture them, but.
So in the game, you're a gym junkie.
It's your advent gym schedule calendar.
So it's either got protein powder or anthrax.
And you don't know which until you mix it into your fucking
just a scoop
juice or whatever.
You just shove it into your protein shake.
So as you click through then, like you surely have to have some sort of visual indication of getting more swole,
Yeah.
If you can choose which days to skip, because if you skip a day, you don't have to open that day's box, essentially. That day's
the protein shake, yeah.
Yeah. Is it just like 20? You got 25 protein shakes?
25 protein shakes for one of them. In fact, we all know there's really only 24 days in most of these advent calendars, because by the time you get to Christmas, you're opening presents. You're not opening up an advent calendar.
True.
So you got 24 days.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you don't know when you open whether it's deadly or whether it's not until you consume it.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games where it's a permanent, end.
You can only play it once.
You can only play it once.
We take a hash of the computer, I don't know.
Serial number, all this other stuff.
Put it into unhackable cloud locker that it has to check with to see whether you've finished, whether you've died in game or not. I mean, this could be a fun little one-time advent. I think next year we should make an advent calendar game and release it. Yeah. That can only be played, that it's like based on your system clock. You open it once a day, different things happen. You can die.
And one could be an adventure game. One could be a WarioWare style game which you got one life. And the idea is all you can do is every single day. Like you can open multiple, like if you haven't logged in for 5 days, you can open the previous 5 days, but you got to do them in order. And then
Well, or maybe you just choose. Maybe they're not numbered. It's just that there are that many of them, and you can only open as many as how many days you've gone through.
Yeah, how many days there has been, and we connect to the world time, thing, so that people can't.
It's not just the system time. Yeah, you'd have to if you really want to go through and spoof the network, the NTP calls or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you can.
Look, then
it's probably as far as
you're smart enough. But we do check whether you've got internet access or not. So you better give us access.
They're going to be really good games, so you're going to want to play.
Hell yeah!
By which I mean it's just a guy chugging protein powder and then potentially dying. All right, 3, 2, 1, click.
3, 2, 1, click.
Indefinite crossing.
Assembled overload.
Okay. So my mind immediately went to having to build a robot that is crossing a busy highway. So almost like a Frogger sort of thing, except you don't have direct control over it. It's you have to build it. And perhaps you can build in
pre-program in like forward, right, wait.
Well,
forward.
I think it's more about potentially having sensors or reactions or something where it's like, okay, if there's a car, within 3 blocks to your right, move forward or move to the left and then move forward or whatever, right? And having to essentially build a robot that can successfully Frogger its way through a procedurally generated Frogger level.
Okay.
Could be cool. And then face them off against others. Just to add.
You save your seed and then see for this seed, like what was the least amount of instructions that they had to program into the robot to get across.
Yeah. So it can be just some relatively basic, like you're not spending days writing these things. You spend 5-10 minutes putting together some instructions based on what you can see of the level potentially, and then just let it run, let it go. And you can maybe choose a starting position and different things like that. But I don't know. I feel like that could be a little challenge.
Yeah, that could be kind of
very funny.
Doesn't need to be funny. Doesn't need to be funny. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Now, when the robot gets killed, that's when you go super, hyper realistic of seeing like BeamMG,
or like
you see soft body deforming and all that sort of stuff,
crash down or whatever.
You really want to see from like 13 different angles
for sure
this robot being obliterated.
And in fact that's really the main draw is you build this robot. You can also do a bunch of cosmetic stuff for how it's put together. It's not just the instructions. And then it's the tension of, is it going to make it across or is it going to get smashed into by a semi-trailer? And we get to watch the aftermath in slow motion from different angles and then share them. Share the gifts.
I mean, share, your closest shaves because that's, everyone loves a close shave.
Yeah.
Like, you take the beard off that robot.
Or you get so close that the beard ruffles without coming off. Like, then that's,
Yeah. That soft body just deforms a little bit and goes,
little swoosh. And when you get to the alligators,
yeah,
that's fun too.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have worn those meat sandals.
I do like the idea of it being a bit more physically modeled. So while it is, technically a Frogger sort of thing, it's not just, you move forward one step, you move forward one step. You're doing it a bit more nuanced than that, and it's okay, continue moving forward until, X, turn to the right or strafe to the right or whatever. But you're essentially, you've got a humanoid sort of figure that is following these instructions then, and like you said, being subject to the physics of that world.
So every now and again, it's kind of random, but you can get 2 toddlers in a trench coat that look like a robot.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to kill them.
I don't know. I don't know. We might need to make them invincible. In that case, it is like BeamNG, and like everything just like collapses around them. Like it's you just see this again, the soft body deformation of these cars just crush around them as if they've hit an immovable object.
Yep. 3 to 1 click.
Yeah.
Sworn worm.
Sworn?
Sworn. SWORN. Sworn.
Squashed sacking.
Squashed
sacking.
Sacking. Okay. For some reason, I'm going legal again. I'm just imagining
like a worm
that's sworn in on the bench, and
it's
Judge Worm.
Judge Worm. Okay.
Judge Worm.
They call him Judge Worm.
And it's because the previous worm got squashed.
Okay.
And the one before that got sacked.
Got sacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. By which we mean put in a sack and used as bait.
Yes. I mean, the fisherman did love his food that night. Like, caught a beautiful trout.
Oh, yeah. It was worth it.
His wife prepared it. Just beautiful.
It's worth it. But
that Judge Worm.
That Judge Worm was one of the best judges we had. Like, that's a great boss.
And now we're stuck with his younger brother,
Judge Worm.
Yeah.
Fucking Judge Worm.
Fucking Judge Worm. He's got nothing on Judge Worm.
Now, Judge Worm, though.
Oh.
The one who was squashed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Legend.
Also pretty amazing.
Held the tinny record.
Yeah, he was just kind of a great dude. He was just a legend.
Yeah.
Not a great judge as such, but everyone liked him. Whereas
and
Judge
their
Worm
ancestor, Judge Worm,
well, I mean, he was the first.
WYRM was a dragon.
Yeah. and the current Judge Worm loves to talk about that as if he thinks he has some of that dragon blood in him. Is a
descendant, but really, it's so far.
Funnily enough, these 3 were brothers, but they all started as a single worm that got cut up and then left to become 3 different worms.
So anyway, Judge Worm. The latest one, not
the current one.
Not the cool one. So the current one, he I'm just imagining what sort of crazy cases.
Well, what sort of court
in front of Judge Worm
is he presiding over here? Is this like the underground? Is this the garden court? Is this the veggie patch?
Night garden court. Yep, I love that.
There you go. The snails and the slugs have come out and are taking food that they shouldn't be.
Aphids. You've got spiders. You've got
moths, crickets.
Yeah. All this
centipedes.
Sort of stuff. So Judge Worm is taking over, and the 2 lawyers that are normally there, I'm thinking one is a moth.
Yeah.
And one is like one of those Christmas beetles.
Okay.
But, Judge Worm has to be very careful because if he turns the lights on, they both start just smacking into the light.
So they have to hold it in a very dim room with just wide ambient lighting that is not a specific bright light source. Yeah, for sure. There's a great scandal that comes out later that the moth lawyer has a relationship with a butterfly, which is sort of not done.
It's not done.
And that's why he's also always so tired, because he keeps waking up during the day to go and have butterfly trysts.
Relations.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I like the idea that because Judge Worm was originally the arse of the original 3-piece Judge Worm.
That makes sense.
He can't speak, but he's very stoic.
Okay.
Like, he didn't get I don't know whether worms actually have brains, but we know, everyone knows what Judge Worm is thinking.
Yeah. And like clearly being the
way that he bangs his gavel with, he wraps his head around it and just starts banging.
Mm-hmm. We all know how a worm bangs a gavel. We've seen it a million times.
And we've seen it a million times. I mean,
is this
that first cutscene with Judge Worm was amazing, and he spoke a lot.
Yeah, it was very eloquent.
This Judge Worm is just not quite the same.
No.
Have we said worm enough?
One more time.
Worm.
3, 2, 1, click. Lenient pointer.
Charmed tragedy.
Oh. So, I mean, charmed makes me think witches. Were they witches? Yes. They were witches, right? No, they're just magical.
They were
in some way. Okay. Specifically witches. I don't remember.
Matter.
No, I know.
Doesn't matter.
I was thinking pointer.
Power of 3.
Wand. I know
Power
they
of
didn't
3.
have wands.
Power of 3.
Yeah.
Tragedy.
Power of 3.
Something better, tragedy.
Is that's ABBA? Is that ABBA? No.
BGs, I think.
Oh, yeah, okay. Just trying to see if we could.
That's why I can't sing it, because it's too high. At least with ABBA, I could probably sing it because the ladies don't go super high with their singing.
Mm.
They're down here a little bit more.
Okay, so we all
charmed tragedy.
Charmed tragedy. Right.
And lenient pointer. Okay, witches, wands.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a tragedy because someone was too lenient with what they were pointing at and they killed someone.
Well, I think they caused a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And, the judge, not Judge Worm, but the judge went lenient on them.
Oh, I see. So they're on probation.
So even though there was a tragedy, they've given them another chance.
They're on which probation?
They're on which probation? Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of like an adventure game. I'm thinking one of those older style LucasArts ones where you can swap between them.
So are you not allowed to do magic at the beginning?
Yeah.
Like you see all these other characters doing stuff, solving their weird adventure game problems very easily by just waving their wand and solving them. And you're just like, fuck. Like I need to find some weird illogical object.
Yes.
That's going to solve this puzzle.
I'm going to have to find some weird illogical object that I can rub up against some other weird illogical object.
Make a mustache.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a mustache.
It's always a mustache.
Yeah. One of the puzzles has got to be a mustache.
Oh, it's got to be the end of Act 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all been leading up to this. I mean,
to whether or not you can
had an amazing mustache.
Yeah, and you will have to impersonate the judge
on his very dragon-like body.
Mm.
This is original Judge Worm.
This is the original Judge Worm. Yeah. So you have to impersonate Judge Worm so that you can essentially sign it to say, okay, we're ending the probation. Because you just can't handle this anymore. Magic is a huge part of your life. You do everything with magic.
I mean, the whole world is magic.
I think the whole world knows about magic, but I think it takes certain practitioners still
yeah.
There are still magical beasts and stuff. They don't necessarily all have wands and perform magic, I think.
No, some it's innate.
Yeah.
Some, the unicorn can poop rainbows.
Yeah. And those rainbows are magic.
They are. It's actually the rainbows that are magic, not the unicorn.
Yeah.
Everyone gets that wrong.
No, the only reason
unicorns are just, regular horses with a horn.
And they just happen to poop.
But they've got a portal in their arse.
Right. And their lower intestine is a portal to the magic realm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where rainbows come from.
Yeah. Every time you see a rainbow, that's a unicorn shitting upwards.
Yes.
The only way they know how to shit.
They just point their ass to the sky.
Yeah. And somewhere
you don't want
over the rainbow.
You don't want to be at the other end of that.
No.
Because that's where it landed.
Because that's where it landed. Has to go somewhere.
Exactly. It kind of teleports, like that new void ball thing from Fortnite. It's kind of like that, where they just launch it out and then teleport.
The rainbow is the trail of that.
Yeah.
And then wherever it lands,
it's instantaneous.
There's just a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Unicorn shit.
And it stinks.
Yeah. Stinks like rainbows.
But taste the rainbow.
That's where Skittles. Yeah. Just a pile of Skittles.
Just a pile of Skittles. Shit flavored Skittles. 3, 2, 1, click.
All right. Last one, I think. Just
I don't know why. This is just getting insane.
Oh, I know why. Because it's the second episode of the night and it's 10:30. We're near the end of it. All right. Saw Yard.
Overpriced. Wandering.
Okay. Do you know what I thought of the other day that we haven't thought of in a while?
Strong bad?
No. You did send me a thing.
You that video.
No, flesh houses.
Oh, God. Wandering flesh houses. Okay.
No, I'm wondering more if this is some, like, I don't know if we've done this before, but like a doctor for flesh houses. Have we done that?
I think we have.
But because I'm thinking
the idea
my yard is sore.
Does a flesh house, and sorry, we should, for people who are new that haven't gone through this before, we got on a
Many
really
years ago.
weird train of thought in the fact that we thought, oh, what if there was a house, but instead of it being made of like plaster and all that sort of stuff, it was made of flesh and there was a heart. And of course, the heart of the house is, I think we decided on either the kitchen or the living room, one of those two. But there was actually a living, beating heart in there. So you really didn't want to go in. It was very bloody and the houses could feel and bleed. But anyway, now this is all about, does a house feel when you mow their lawn?
Or is that just like shaving their legs kind of thing, like, or their face,
Oh, but what if they got nicked on the ground? Like,
yeah, I mean, that might hurt.
If
they've got a mole or something.
Yeah. You nick the root with, a metal bladed instrument.
Ingrown grass.
Yeah.
If they've got some ingrown grass.
Oh, God.
You got to watch for the pus as you're mowing.
I mean, it was a prominent mole too. Like,
yeah. Oh, he bled. That definitely hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, it really did. So you're thinking doctor or are you thinking?
Well, maybe it's a beautician.
Or beautician or surgeon? I was thinking surgeon, like a Dr. Pimple Popper sort of thing.
No, I was thinking they're coming
along.
I was thinking they're coming and they are mowing the grass.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's anything like any other body, like they will have hair elsewhere as well. It may be not as thick and luscious as their yard. But they might want to wax that. You might want to tweeze some things.
Yeah. Yep.
You may need to deal with some acne, some blackheads.
Yeah.
They form in the corners.
It's not just
moist.
the yard though. It's also the front of the house facade, the side of the house facade.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm thinking this is a general, even inside, it's a general beautician, treatment for your flesh house.
And it can speak.
The house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, did we establish that? Maybe they just moan a bit, but they definitely have some sort of vocal capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is a little bit further on in the law, in the fact that they've now
of flesh houses.
Yeah. So they've now got like a translator or something that basically there's a box at the front that can just speak what the house is thinking.
Yeah.
And the house itself actually has, self-service. It can ring and ask for the beautician to come, as long as they've got tenants, because the tenants still have to pay them.
They still have to pay. As long as,
because houses aren't allowed money. I mean, that was part of the House Accords.
Yeah. Well, and the rights, the civil rights of these houses is a
contentious issue.
Contentious topic, for sure. And the group PETF, People for the Ethical Treatment of Flesh Houses, like are strong proponents of them having equal rights. But unfortunately, yes, we're not quite there yet at this point. But they do have much more ability to communicate now. But yes, they still can't have a bank account or vote.
Yeah. But they can walk now. They're allowed to walk.
Yeah, it was deemed inhumane or in-house aim.
In-house main. To not let them exercise.
Mm-hmm.
A bit.
They were just atrophying.
It looks really weird because, the lawn kind of gets ripped up and then kind of sits down in front, covering up all their bits.
It's sort of like a little, what do you call it? Kilt.
Yeah.
Bit of a kilt.
You don't want to look under that kilt. You really
just
don't.
The little skinny house legs walking along. Because, they're all pale. They're essentially under the ground.
But you can't. Part of the House Accords meant that they're not allowed to sunbathe anymore, not allowed to, lay down and let their pale legs out.
Well, there's too much skin
people don't
cancer.
want to see everything else. It's too close to the genitals.
Yeah. Well, and again, there's not enough sunscreen that can be subsidized to, the people can afford the sunscreen required to prevent their flesh houses from getting cancerous growths from being in the sun so much. So, this is why the lawns are actually much more prevalent now as well.
And that's also why, paint, especially lead
paint. Well, that was
that's the main way to keep your house safe because they don't suffer from lead poisoning.
Yeah, the humans unfortunately still do. So, it's this sort of it is a difficult issue.
Don't be licking the paint off the outside of your house.
Well, and that's also that was also a thing because that was deemed assault if you lick your house without its consent. So, it's look. There's a lot going on, but in this game, you mow their lawns.
You mow their lawns. And there's a whole heap of lore behind it, and it's all hidden throughout the game. There's little notes, and you can read the whole House Accords if you want.
Yeah. You can just
the Flouse Accords, the Flesh House
Accords. Yeah.
Okay, that does bring us to the end of tonight.
That does. So if you'd like to find our previous episodes online, including the one where we came up with this horrid idea of flesh houses. Then go
it's not horrid. It is awesome.
It is awesome. Go to podchaser.com/bitstorm, and you can find them there.
If you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance. It's off the album Containment Failure by the band Curidas. You can find it for free while stocks last. We're having a going out of business sale at curidas.bandcamp.com. Don't mind the fact that you don't see any of those banners anywhere on the site. We're going through a few legal things at the moment and we're not allowed to put that up there, but you can still find it for free there while stocks last.
That's right. And I've just had a look. It's episode 125. The House Whisperer is the first one, back in 2019. So thank you
that was a long time ago.
For joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trev.
And they call me Dr. Worm, but I'm actually a judge, and I can't remember how the song goes.